Hi everybody. I'm here today to talk to you about Tommyknockers. So these Tommyknockers are not like what Stephen King describes. These are small human-like creatures that live in mines. They are often described as being about 2 feet tall, green in color. They look kind of like gnomes. They have white whiskers and they always appear wearing traditional miners' clothing. So some people believe that these are the spirits of miners that were tragically killed in mining accidents. Other people believe that it's more religious in nature where they came from, but regardless of the belief, the things that they do and the way that they appear always is basically the same. So, um, it is believed that Tommyknockers sometimes commit random acts of mischief. So they will take tools or food that's left unattended. They'll do just kind of like playful things like that. It's also believed that they knock deep within these mines. So there was a belief that when miners heard knocking deep within the mines, it indicated that there was going to be a cave in. Now, generally, this was true. There would be a cave in. So, usually, when they heard knocking, they would leave. So, they kind of tied this into the Tommyknockers that they were knocking to warn the miners that something was going to happen. So, that's kind of interesting. This leads people to believe that they're like generally harmless in nature. Some people also believed that the number of knocks meant different things. So 2 knocks meant that you should dig here, 3 knocks meant don't dig here. So they kind of gave different meanings to different types of knocking. So that's kind of interesting. The history of Tommyknockers is kind of interesting. So there were miners that came from Cornwall, England, and these people were believed to be the leaders in mining technology. They were believed to be the best miners in the entire world. So they were brought in the 1800s to America to help with the mining there. Now, with them came all of their beliefs and their superstitions, and they were actually believed to be very superstitious when it came to their mining. And the legend of Tommyknockers was one of their big things. So they believed that the Tommyknockers stowed away in their luggage and came with them to America and went into the mines there so they could continue doing the same things that they had been doing in Cornwall, England. So they're generally, like I said, considered very harmless, but the miners believed that there was certain things that you could do or not do to make sure that you didn't anger them. So they would never ever whistle in the mine because they thought that it was disrespectful to the Tommyknockers. They would also always bring extra food in their lunches so that they could have something to offer the Tommyknockers. And when they would go to the bar after they were done work for the day, they were talking about them, they would leave extra seats for them. So that's kind of cool. I love it. They thought that it was bad luck or disrespectful to the Tommyknockers to bring women into the mine, specifically redheaded women. I'm not really sure why, but yeah, that's kind of interesting. So there's a few different legends about Tommyknockers. So they're harmless. They are generally considered helpful, warning miners about where to dig, not to dig, if there was going to be a cave in. But there are some legends where things aren't as harmless. So there is a legend about a mine in Cripple Creek, Colorado. Where they believed that the mine was haunted by Tommyknockers. The fear of these creatures caused most of the miners to leave. So while most of them left, some people stayed. The people that weren't very superstitious, they stayed on, hoping that they would find find gold and be rich. So tragedy did strike this mine. A man thought that he heard a small boy calling for help, being lost in the mine. And when he went to find the little boy to help him. The ceiling caved in and tragically killed him. And then in another incident, a miner was crushed by a bucket that fell on him. So it's really not good. The other miners in the area also reported seeing spirits, seeing weird shapes moving around, and hearing whispering. So eventually they all fled, and they closed that mine down. So that's like a lot of stuff happening. It's kind of crazy. It's also believed that if you mock the Tommyknockers, bad things will happen. So in another incident, 7 miners went into a gold mine, and they heard knocking deep within the mine, and 3 of the 7 started mocking the Tommyknockers, saying that they didn't exist and challenging them to show themselves and show these miners what they could do. So 4 of the 7 were terrified and fled. The 3 that were mocking, that were calling out the Tommyknockers, sadly were crushed in a cave-in. The 4 miners that fled told people later that when they were fleeing, they saw Tommyknockers like in person as they were running away. So they believed that the Tommyknockers were responsible for the cave-in because these 3 miners had dared to mock them, which is really sad and very scary and interesting as well. Like, did these people actually see something, or were they just terrified? Like, we'll never really know for sure. So are Tommyknockers real? It's hard to say. However, I did look into the knocking within the mine, and what I found is that you will hear knocking deep within mines when there's going to be a cave-in, because the earth and the wood, the timbers, start like cracking and breaking and causing knocking sounds. So that's one explanation for the knocking. But what about all of the other things that people see, the things going missing, the things moving around, people actually physically seeing Tommyknockers? Now, is there something to this? Very possibly. Are these people getting afraid? They're in a dark mine, things are moving around, they don't know what's going on, they're scared, this is like a high stress environment. So your mind can play tricks on you. So is this incidents where people's mind, their imagination kind of got away from them, or was stuff actually going on? These are things that hopefully one day we'll have answers to, but at this point, nobody knows. But what I do know is these stories of Tommyknockers are really fascinating. There are tons. If you look it up online, you can find tons and tons and tons of stories about people, miners, having encounters with Tommyknockers. So definitely look into it, because this is some fascinating stuff. And I hope to one day be able to find out if Tommyknockers are real or not. And if they are, like, are they still down there in the mines, like warning people or trying to play little pranks on people? Who knows? But yeah, that is the information that I have for you today on Tommyknockers. If you have any cool anecdotes about them, please let me know. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. And otherwise, I will be back on another day with another video about something totally different. Okay, thanks guys, bye.